I need you to straighten up. We're just going to have to keep going, okay? This has happened before, and there's nothing I can do. I'm kind of waiting on the streaming service to get caught up here, and it's a little jittery, but we're running the bumper, and we have people waiting, and we're recording. Switching to Studio 36 Alpha after this countdown. Well, good evening. Welcome to pjnet.tv. If you are watching this and it's kind of jittery out there, yes, we're having trouble with the streaming thingy again. I'm watching a light go from green to yellow to red. But it's a pleasure to be here. We're just going to keep going. And tonight is the night. It is the first Wednesday of the month, and it's a special time that we reserve for our guest tonight. And you might have guessed she is the author of the book that is on display prominently, Jewels of Hebrews. But that is just a small part of her ministry, as you're going to find out. Welcome to the stage, our good friend and PJNet family member, Stephanie Pavlantos. Stephanie, I thought that perhaps you were not at the location that you normally come to us from, but you are.
I am. I moved my computer to a different side of the table. That's all. So
we get a brand new look. Well, Stephanie, we've only got a few minutes to share a lot of stuff. We have talked about your follow-up Zoom study that you are doing on Jewels of Hebrews, and that I thought had already started, but I understand now that that's upcoming. Is there still time for people to get involved?
There is. Absolutely. It starts September 13th. It's a Monday night at 7 Eastern. And there's still plenty of time to get in, and even plenty of time to get the book and get going. So
okay.
Yeah.
This is being done, I believe, on Zoom. Is that correct?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, it is on Zoom.
So how much did it cost me to sign up? About $50?
Nah. The book is like, I don't know. Amazon's always putting it on sale. So right now it's like 12 something, and other times its regular price is like 16, but nothing for the class itself other than the book.
Okay.
So that's it. That's all you need.
And how many weeks will that run? Will it be every Thursday, you said?
It'll be every Monday night for 13 weeks because we go through one chapter a week. So, yeah, so everybody, you just kind of study ahead of time. You do the chapter, you come to class having done the chapter that we're on that for that week, and then we just talk about Hebrews. So it's on the book of Hebrews.
You like talking about Hebrews, don't you?
I like talking about the Bible. So
yeah. Now, you've done one of these in the past. Did you not get it right and you're doing makeup, or is it backed by popular demand?
It's backed by popular demand, so I did have a few people who asked if we could do it again. So that's what we're doing. So I'm excited.
Folks, there is so much going on, and I don't get to talk to you as much as I'd like, but it's great talking to you before we go on the air. You and your husband are involved in a new church.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just started a month ago or so.
And
our pastor is, do you want me to talk about
I'm just trying to tee it up for you, honey. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I was telling you about the pastor, and his name is Abe, and he has done so much. And I even talked to him tonight and said, hey, would you want to be on PJNet? I think what you've done and things you have done within this church already, after just 2 years of being there, have been amazing. And it's just really, I mean, of course, as pastors, you're supposed to be good with people, right? And most pastors that I know are, but in this case, he is just he has really helped restore people. So restore marriages, even restore families, and in the sense of families with children who are going through different addictions. He has helped in that way of bringing these children back to the Lord, even off of the drugs they were on. Um, so he's done some amazing things in the lives of this church. And, you know, God, of course, is working through him
Hmm.
and using his gifting and his ability to reach people, and just bring healing and, freedom, really. That's what it is, freedom. He's not afraid to tackle the hard things. He's not afraid to just, you, be really straight with people and just say, "Hey, this is the problem I see, and this is what you need to do about it, because this is a problem within you that you need to take to God." And so it's just been really interesting, the stories we've heard and the lives that have been changed.
That is
So
outstanding. I mean,
yeah.
pastor encompasses, we paint with a pretty broad brush, but when we think pastor, too
Mhm.
often we think preacher. A
Right.
preacher is a speaker, and you
Right.
can be a
Right.
great preacher and a lousy pastor. You can be a
Yeah,
great
and there's
pastor and a lousy
pastors who are
speaker.
preachers.
You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah. There's the
But yeah,
preaching, the
pastor
teaching,
has
the
to be a
ministering.
shepherd.
Shepherd.
Right. So all those kinds of things. And like you said, I mean, all pastors have different giftings. So the pastors that are teachers, may not be as great with people. I mean, we went
Hmm.
to a church many, many, many years ago, and basically says that's why I have associates. They're the pastors, they're the shepherd. I'm just a teacher.
Hmm.
And he liked it that way. And um, but I would say that the majority of pastors we know, are great, pastors, are shepherds and leaders of their flock and carers for their flock.
And when you think
So,
about it, when a church is calling a pastor, okay, let's think about what we want in a pastor. We want
hmm
a good preacher teacher, okay. We want a good
hmm
shepherd. We want a good pastor. They also have to have righteousness that only Jesus could attain,
right.
and they have to be the CEO of the church enterprise. Managing the church
hmm
budget and
hmm
guiding and leading, providing
Right.
leadership financially for the
hmm
enterprise of the church. Now, folks, if such a person could be found in the corporate world, they would be earning some
hmm
pretty strong money, but we expect them to do it for
Yeah.
way less than the secular
Yeah.
world would
Yeah. For
offer.
free. Some
You
of
know,
those things for free.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm being asked to turn your volume up, and I've done that, Stephanie.
Oh,
But if I could ask you to speak
okay.
up just a little bit, some people are having a hard time hearing you
I
clearly.
will do that.
They're well. This is a technique that you use to make people lean in and listen. If you talk so.
Yeah.
It's,
I just whisper. Just whisper.
yeah.
Yes.
Stephanie, I'm really proud. And I want to talk a little bit and spend a little time on something that I think you and your husband are doing. Or I know you are. Is physical fitness. What has that got? How is
hmm
that a ministry?
Well, we are a triune body. Okay, so we have the Trinity, we know the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, but God has made us a triune body as well. So we have the mental or emotional part of us, we have the spiritual part, we have the physical part. And to really be whole, all three of these have to work together. Um, if anybody, if any, I should say, any person has one system in your body out of whack, all the systems have to make up for that system the best they can. Or, and sometimes you even see in the hospital, like one system shuts down and little by little, every system below it starts shutting down. And so it's really important for us to be aware of not just the spiritual side of us, and not just our emotional side, but also our physical side. And in my own life, God dealt with me first spiritually. After spiritually, coming to Him and learning about what a relationship was with Him. And I'm not talking about it was like, a week here, a week there. And obviously it never stops. But after years of just dealing with me spiritually, and even putting together and showing me my spiritual gifts and whatnot, then He started dealing with me. And I would say maybe like 10 years just dealing with me spiritually. And then suddenly He started dealing with me emotionally. Let's deal with some of this unforgiveness. Let's deal with some of this hurt that affects the way you react to people. You react to triggers, even, things that might come up, and you go off the deep end for no reason whatsoever. What's that trigger? So let's deal with inner healing. And then He started dealing with me about my physical body, that it needed to be healthier because things weren't going as well as I had hoped once I got into my 40s and early 50s. And I was like, why do things hurt more? And
Welcome to
and
my
even just
world.
like, yeah, yeah. But, gallbladder issues. And I realized at 50 I could not eat like I was 13, and I couldn't do it. It wasn't good for me, and I had to change. And actually my taste buds had to grow up and learn to eat healthy food and stop eating all the sugar and all the inflammatory foods that we can eat when we're young that don't affect us, but as
Mhm.
we grow older they start affecting us. And then those inflammatory foods, guess what? They affect your joints, they affect your heart. Most of the reasons why people die of heart attacks are due to inflammation. And inflammation is a huge thing because we love inflammatory foods. So,
What are some of the quote inflammatory? I'm not clear on what you mean by that. Some of the inflammatory foods that you're
okay.
throwing overboard.
Sugar is a huge one.
Mhm.
Sugar is a major inflammatory food. Um, if you like your tortilla chips and salsa, or your corn on the cob, guess what? That's like eating sugar,
Okay,
really. Um,
thank you, Stephanie.
yeah,
It's carbohydrates, starches, and
yeah,
a lot of times when we say sugar, okay, we think
yeah,
Coca-Colas, Pepsis, and
right.
milkshakes, and that's
Mhm.
true. But a loaf of bread, anything made from a grain,
Pasta,
pasta,
yeah.
anything made from a
And
grain is
like
sugar.
sweet potatoes
Sweet
and
potatoes.
carrots, and they're starchy vegetables, but those aren't nearly as bad for you. They're still starchy vegetables. Anything that grows down in the ground is usually a starch,
Hmm.
and it's going to have more sugar in it than vegetables that are grown on vines.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
um, but nightshades, peppers, sweet peppers, and those are inflammatories actually, and like grains, like you already said. So, I love ice cream. I have always loved ice cream. My dad and I used to sit down, and all he had to say is, "Stephanie, go get me a bowl of ice cream," because he knew that I could get myself one. And um, so then pretty soon we would all get into the ice cream. And but I've learned to make ice cream much healthier. I still like it. I changed what I put into it. And so I make my own, and sometimes I buy keto ice cream.
Hmm.
But I've changed. So I hike, I walk, I kayak. I try to move more because let's face it, if you're a writer, I blog, I teach. Guess what? I don't move much. I don't move
That's
much unless I make it intentional.
Stephanie.
So yeah,
You're just saying all the right things because that's exactly where I was going. A
yeah,
lot of the people that view our program are writers in one way or another, authors,
mm-hmm,
writers. I'm a computer programmer. That is a
yep,
very sedentary lifestyle,
right,
and and
right,
here's let me listen, folks. Here's what I have found this to be true, and I would like to ask you if you find it to be true, because our viewing audience probably will benefit from this. When I eat better, okay, wake up and, not just huff down a breakfast bar. Those are kind of sugar loaded, but in other words, eat
Yes.
healthier.
Yes.
And you can
Right.
get advice on that. Let's just leave it at eat healthier and
Mm-hmm.
get out and move around. Now, I do 80
Right.
push-ups in the morning. The only people I know that can do that are in the Marine Corps. But you don't have to do 80. You can do 10. You can do
Right.
move around. Get out and raise your heart rate. Do something.
Yeah.
I found this to be true, and tell
Mm-hmm.
me if you believe it, or if you experience the same thing. I find
Okay.
myself more creative when I do
Mm.
that. It
Yeah.
invigorates your body, and you achieve a different
Mm-hmm.
state of consciousness, so to
Oh yeah.
speak. And you
Mm-hmm.
get a little sweaty, and then take a shower, and you feel fresh, you feel invigorated, and you're ready
Yeah.
to take on
Mm-hmm.
things, and you're stronger.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a writer, wouldn't you want to do that for yourself so that you can do the best job
Right.
you can do? What's your experience?
Oh, definitely. I mean, nothing. I get on a kayak and I'm passing things. I'm passing bridges. I'm passing trees, and I'm like, look at the roots of those trees, and that will remind me of something about Hebrew roots, or the roots that go down and form who we are, and our family roots. It like starts bringing up all these different ideas that I have for a good blog post or a good devotional. I mean, look at JD. I mean, I'm amazed at the things that he sees every time he goes out to take care of his animals. He comes back and writes this great devotional, great blog post about his animals and what the Lord teaches him. And it's the same. I mean, if we're just stuck looking at four walls, guess what? There's nothing but four walls
Hmm.
to look at and learn from. And yeah, I mean, the Lord can teach us in any situation. I know there are people who can't get out for one reason or another, but you have to do something to stimulate your mind, whether you get into the word or, well, not whether, but getting into the word helps stimulate your mind, but in a prayer life, and a good, healthy um, outlook on life, as far as from a biblical point of view, because things get depressing, and they can be disappointing and all those kinds of things. Just watch the news for a half hour, and you can walk away with depression. So,
And anger.
but definitely, and anger, yeah. But definitely move your body, and it does it. I mean, your mind, your brain physically reacts to those great endorphins that
Hmm.
happen when you smell something that's good, fresh air, and all those kinds of things. And just, like, I like to be barefoot. I mean, I am just like, I'm a farm girl that likes to be barefoot. Now, I can't go out back where our ducks are, and
For
because the
obvious
ducks have the
reasons.
whole backyard. So I can't walk barefoot back there. But it is so good for you just to walk barefoot in the grass, and
Hmm.
it's actually really good for your body to experience the creation that God gave us to experience. He gave us color, He gave us sights and sounds and different things to stimulate our our brains, our minds, and our body, and the hormones that we have, and the chemical reactions in our brain. I mean, it's so amazing, but it all goes together with what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we smell, what we feel. He gave us those senses, I should say, to stimulate our bodies in different ways, and make us see how good things are in the creation he gave us. And so
Now,
it's
my,
all
my
good.
testimony on
Everything
sleep
just
isn't very good, because I typically get 4 to 5. If I get 4 to 5 hours of
mm,
sleep at one time, my back hurts. But
yeah.
I will say this: if you will exercise and expend yourself a little bit, you'll rest better as well. And so often, some of the
Yeah.
inspirations
Yeah.
I get, I wake up like, oh, I got it,
Mhm.
and I immediately
Yeah.
run to my man
Yeah.
cave and start pounding on the keyboard, but if you acknowledge that these activities, the input and the output enhance the physical body, enhance the psychological body, it doesn't
Mhm.
take a whole long leap of
Yeah.
faith to understand it enhances your spirituality, your connection with God.
Right.
I mean, open,
Right.
get that, conduit. It's all clogged up with things of the
Mhm.
world, and
Mhm.
let's clear up the pipes and get that
Yeah.
power flowing into and out from. Okay, and let me emphasize that again.
Mhm.
Get that power from God flowing in, so that
Right.
it can flow out. You can't give what you
Exactly.
don't have. Okay, I am
Exactly.
preaching now. All right. So, was there some other? What there? Is there anything we missed? Aren't you doing another study of some kind?
I am in October. Um, I'm going to be teaching on health and how our spiritual, physical, and emotional health overlaps. We're not purely physical, we're not purely spiritual, we're not purely emotional, but they overlap. And sometimes what we're doing physically can hurt us mentally or
Mm-hmm.
spiritually. What we're doing, how we are wounded spiritually will affect us mentally, and how we're wounded mentally will affect us spiritually and even physical and our physical body. And so the class is basically about all of those things. It's about how to stay healthy in each of those ways.
Oh, I wanted
So,
to point out, because I see that Michelle Medlock Adams is in the PJNet.TV chat room. I wanted to point out that
okay.
without prior arrangement or any other organization, you are
Yeah.
wearing black, I am wearing black, and I can almost assure you that Michelle Medlock Adams will be wearing black when she gets on that screen right there in just a few minutes. Stephanie, we're so proud of you, and thank you for, always
Thank you.
being so faithful and sharing time with us each month. And you're all heart, and by all means, let your pastor know that we are eager to hear the effects of
Okay.
ministry that he is doing, and he is welcome to share with us about the good things going on at your church. And I'm happy that you and your husband are involved in such a great church like that, that's emphasizing
Mm,
personal ministry and recovery. So thank you for sharing with us tonight, Stephanie.
yes. Thank you.
Okay, there you see the top down view of the Eagles Nest broadcast facilities here at pjnet.tv. And as good as that was, it's going to keep getting, it's going to keep being good. I don't want to say get better, but Michelle Medlock Adams is back from vacation, folks, and she will be on the big screen in just a few moments. And I've got a few preparations to make. Thank you for your prayers. It seems the jittery network connection that we were experiencing early on in the program seems to have cleared up. I didn't do anything. Just, before I leave, two questions that I hope you'll ask yourself. What is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? When was that? Let's not be satisfied with either answer.